Hello, everybody, and welcome into Off the Boards. Back after our hiatus. It's been like 2 weeks. I don't know. Everyone's busy. We got stuff going on. Hockey is really cool and a cool sport, but there's been a lot of football talks. We've been talking a lot of football. But anyways, yesterday was the trade deadline. Also, I guess I should say this instead of first going to that. Over there is Ryan. I'm Josh. As always, we're Ethanless today. Unfortunately, Ethan's got stuff going on, but like I said, it's already been 2 weeks. We just said F it, and we're just going to go. So, trade deadline day was yesterday. A lot of teams got better. A lot of teams got worse. I mean, a lot of teams made smart decisions. I don't think that any team yesterday made a bad decision. Even the Leafs. We're going to talk about the Leafs and the Habs last, but I don't think the Leafs did anything bad yesterday.
I can think of two bad decisions, and we'll get to that later.
What, the Leafs
I'll
did?
mention them. No, not that our teams made, but just generally today. Yesterday.
That is fair.
We'll talk about them when we get there.
Can I ask, is one of them the Kotkaniemi sign?
No, but do you want to start with that? Because it's not trade, and we'll get to the trades
Yeah, sure.
all once.
Why not?
All right. The Carolina Hurricanes signed Jesperi Kotkaniemi to an extension. 8 years. How much was it? 4.84?
4.6, wasn't it? I thought it was 4.6. It might be 4.8. Either way, that's a pretty solid contract.
4.82 for 8 years. That's a massive contract for not a lot of money.
Is there a no move clause on that, or is it literally just a wide open contract?
I think it'd be wide open. I can't imagine they give him a no.
Ryan, that is hilarious.
That's a lot of money to pay a guy that's your second line center next year, hopefully. Right now, he's playing on the third line.
Yeah, but the thing is, on the second line, that's not a bad contract. But the other thing I love about that contract is it's movable. Like, that's 8 years. Like, the guy is, 22 right now? So that'll take him until he's, 30? He might be older than 22. I actually have no idea how old Kotkaniemi is.
He's currently their fourth line center.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is movable. You're not going to be able to eat any contract, though you probably won't need to.
But
it's just shy under $5 million, but
the thing that I like about the contract though is when they signed him as an RFA and had to pay the offer sheet, right? Everyone was like, "Oh, how are they going to do this? They're going to have to pay the guy $7 million, $8 million next year." Well, no, they just proved that you can offer sheet a player for a ridiculous contract and then just at some point in the next year give him a long 8-year extension at no money.
Yeah, assuming they accept
yeah,
which I think
of course.
Kotkaniemi is a rare case where a player is worth offer sheeting at a certain amount, and you could get for cheaper later in the year.
Yeah, Kotkaniemi is still has a lot of time to come into his own as a player. Like, this contract 2 years from now could look incredible. It could look it could still look bad, which to me is shocking that a $4.6 million contract is going to look, or $4.8 million contract is going to look bad. I mean, it could turn into an unmovable deal if they have to bury him in the AHL, but I don't see that as really happening.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, you're paying $4.8 million to probably your third line center. I think Trocheck probably moves soon.
Well, if he's not,
he's a UFA at the end of this year.
Yeah,
I don't see him re-signing. I don't think they necessarily have the money for it. So
I think
actually they do. They got $20 million, but
I think this is their contingency plan, though. It just makes sense to move him up the lineup and slot out Trocheck and just let someone else play.
Yeah.
I mean,
you also have Jordan Staal, who's up not next year, but the year after. He'll be 34, $6 million. He'll probably be regressing a bit. Probably get him a cheaper deal, but I don't see them letting him go. But
I mean, I see Jordan Staal retiring with that team, but I kind of see him potentially going the Jason Spezza, Wayne Simmons route, which is give me the least amount of money you possibly can, and I'll keep playing for you.
He might do that. He could also do what his brother did and just go play somewhere else.
That is true. Well, to be fair, Eric got traded. I'm pretty sure he got traded off of Carolina. He never signed anywhere. Did he let his contract expire in Carolina and then sign somewhere? I thought he got traded.
No, he got traded, I think.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't think, because I'm pretty sure he would have stayed in Carolina if he wasn't traded. But I also think he wanted to win another Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he came
the Rangers.
He came damn close last year.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
How to make Ryan
Yeah.
sad.
Alright.
Relive the past, buddy. So
let's get into some trades here.
All right.
So I've scrolled down to like the bottom of the list of cap friendly.
Yep.
We'll talk about the big ones. I'll mention the smaller ones a little bit.
Yeah.
Josh Manson to the Avalanche for a second round pick from the Ducks, 50% retained. I think it's a pretty solid depth piece for Colorado. A little bit more veteran presence on the defense that they need.
I was watching, I don't know, Ryan, if you saw this, but the Bar Down guys yesterday live streamed for 8 hours during the deadline. And so Luca talked about, because he's an Avs fan, he was talking about this trade, and he said, look, I like having Josh Manson over not having Josh Manson because it takes less pressure off of, Erik Johnson, and we don't have to use Jack Johnson. But he said the main problem with Manson so far is, man, he takes a lot of penalties, and he's already taken a lot of penalties on the Avs.
Yeah. On the bright side, he'll be playing probably third pair minutes. Makar, Johnson, Girard, Taze all playing top 4.
Their team is so good, man. It's so good.
It's ridiculously good. And up until yesterday, they also had more guys in the pipeline. They still got guys like Shane Powers too, Martin Cott. But I mean, crazy good team. Moving on.
They made another trade. They
did.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They traded Tyson Jost to the Avalanche for Nico Sturm.
Yep.
Jost, he was relatively young, but not quite the level that they needed. Especially they had $2 million. He was producing about 20 points a year. Well, I guess he was probably closer to 30 if he played a full year, but he hadn't played a full year at all. So, yeah.
I'm not going to keep bringing up the Bar Down guys, but I will say what Lucas said real quick because I'm not an Avs fan. What he said about this trade specifically is he said, look, it's more of a change of scenery for both players. He's like, Nico Sturm could come in and be a better player than Tyson Jost, but at the same time, he just slots into the role that Jost was playing. It's more of a salary dump at the end of the day, but Tyson Jost could still be a fantastic player playing in a different role in Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, they're 24, 26, so yeah, I think change scenery is the best way to describe that.
Yeah.
Moving up, Florida trades away Frank Vatrano for a 4th round pick to New York.
It's kind of a weird trade, isn't it?
It's a little weird, but I think they knew they were going to make a few more moves, and we'll get to those in a second. But they need a little bit more cap space, so letting him go is not the worst option, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, for the guy they brought in, we'll get to in a minute. Everyone knows who I'm talking about, but if you know, you know.
Yeah, there's a few guys they brought in.
Montreal then made their first exceptional trade of the deadline period. Ben Sherratt to Florida.
Yeah, Foley was a bit outside the.
Yeah, I was just saying. The deadline period.
Ben Sherratt to the Florida Panthers, 50% retained for a 1st round pick, a 4th round pick, and a player. It's more of a contract thing. But
I'm sorry, but I cannot believe that a team actually offered a 1st for Sherratt. Like that, it's shocking to me. Like,
yes.
Don't get me wrong, Sherratt's like an okay player, but he's not it's a rental for a 1st. Like, I'm just shocked. Like, I couldn't believe it for Sherratt.
I mean, you believed it for Nick Foligno last year, but
I didn't believe in that trade from day one. But I look at the end of the day, I was like, look, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
Look, we didn't trade our 1st this year. It's fine.
I'm really happy about this trade. I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
It's a 2023 pick. 2023 is supposed to be a deeper draft.
Deepest draft.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be. It's not protected either. So God forbid they miss playoffs, which I doubt that happens. But who knows? Bobrovsky's kind of up and down.
It's Sergei, and Giroux could leave. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Montreal has done a lot of good things this year, and that kind of pains me to say as a Leafs fan, because I've been through the rebuild with the Leafs. This is the smart decision. Like, just excellent. You guys sold. I kind of wish you guys sold more players, and I think that most Habs fans probably feel the same way.
I think we could have, but there's not many other players that really could move that were movable. We could have moved a winger, but they're kind of expensive.
I think Petrie could have caught you at 1st.
He could have, but he's also got a massive contract that we can't retain money on.
Oh.
Like, Like he's being paid 6.25 for
What?
4 more years. Yeah,
What?
this was year 1 of his extension.
That's that is
On
tough.
On top of him having a 15-team trade list, so yeah.
Man, you guys shot yourself in the foot bad with that one.
Nobody
Okay.
could have seen him declining as much. And admittedly, he's looked a lot better than recently, but man, he was bad at the start of the year. But
Yeah. We'll keep
Ducharme's
talking.
a hot terrorist, though.
We'll keep talking about Montreal because you guys made a couple more moves. But do you want to talk about the Iron Cook trade? Because that's just kind of I guess it was a second. It's not bad. So the Flames acquired Cali Yarncrook from Seattle for a second round pick in the 2022 draft and a third in the deep draft and a seventh. Did they overpay for Yarncrook? Like that, a second, a third, and a seventh, like 3 picks for Cali Yarncrook? Am I under-evaluating this guy, or did they over-evaluate? 27 points in 51 games, minus 14, but he was on the Kraken.
Yeah. I mean, he is a 40 point, almost 40 point player when he's healthy. I think he'll do well in
Calgary.
In Calgary, I mean, I think he fits that team pretty well, especially where they're really gunning for a deep playoff run now.
We want to talk about good teams. The Flames, man, I can't find a weakness on that team. Like, there are a lot of really good teams, and we're going to get into it today, but Florida is really, really good. Colorado is exceptionally good. The Flames are crazy. And now, let's talk about the next trade. Brandon Hagel goes to the Lightning, because of course he does, and a fourth, or 2 fourths for Boris Kachuk, Tyler Radish, and 2 conditional first-round picks.
Yeah, both top 10 protected.
That's the condition?
Yeah, next year and 2023 and 24 first-round picks to Chicago.
Holy smokes, man. We had a lot of, like NBA-esque trades where we were trading multiple draft picks over multiple years. I don't think I've seen this before, where teams are just like, first-round pick for your trouble, sir?
Yeah.
We're handing out first-round picks like candy this year. But what do you think of this trade? Like, what do you think of Brandon Hagel?
I mean, he's 23 years old, turned 24 in the summer, but he's a 30, 40-point player in 60 games, so that's a 45, 50 point pace at 23. Going to the Tampa Bay Lightning, if he's playing on I doubt they play. Well, he shoots left. He's left wing. He can play the top 6.
I think here's the only thing I have against Brian Hagel, really. If you look at his shooting percentage this year, it is crazily inflated. He is shooting at a 22.3% right now. Last year, in 52 games, he shot at a 9.9. So this kind of feels like a Jeff Skinner-esque kind of thing going on. But what I will say is Hagel is, I think what's going to happen, I think he's going to play bottom 6 for now, for their playoff run. Yeah. I think Palat's going to walk in free agency. I don't think they have the money. They can't. There's no way that they still have money left. I think Palat's going to walk, and so I think Hagel is going to slot into Palat's role in the top 6 next year. Because I can't see Palat staying in this situation. I can't see Tampa wanting Palat to stay after trading for Hagel. Like, you gave up a lot of assets to get this guy. Like, you gave up 2 firsts and Radish, who I believe is a pretty good player.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what. I think it's a solid trade for both teams. I think that both teams ended up getting what they wanted. I mean, Chicago decided this year that they were just going to sell. I honestly, part of me thought for a little bit that Taves and Kane might get traded, because Taves earlier, like when Hagel got traded, he said, "I don't know how anyone can feel safe to not be traded." And I was like, is that him saying that him and Kane might get moved? Like, and I mean, it should happen.
There's chatter of it.
It should happen. I think that they should sell them for assets at this point. Like, they need to realize Chicago is not going to be good for the next few years. They need to rebuild. Just blow it up completely.
I mean, the problem is
$10.5 million.
$10.5 million. Next year's the last year in their deal. But they also both have no move clauses. So if you want to move them, they have to be okay with it. And I don't know if either of them really want to leave. I think they might do it for their team, but
Yeah. We'll
Man,
we'll get into what happens when a player controls their destiny in just a second.
oh boy, will we ever.
So let's talk about the I don't do you want to talk about the next one? I don't think that's really like Nicholas Desailliers or whatever for a third. That's not really much.
Delorier for a third, whatever.
Yeah. The next one,
Lindholm. Yeah.
This trade was crazy to me. They gave up John Moore, Yeho Vakinen, and 3 draft picks, 3 firsts, I believe, actually, for Hampus Lindholm.
And 2 seconds. A first and 2 seconds, not 3 firsts.
Okay. I was about to say, either way, to me that feels like they overpaid, right? Like that overvalued for him. I don't know.
It would have been had they not immediately signed him to an extension.
That is fair. Because I honestly, a part of me was like, and I saw a tweet from Jay Fresh, and he's like, honestly, he's like, I know that I'm inviting a swarm of Boston fans to come and attack me, but he's like, honestly, he pulled up the metric numbers, and he's like, why is your guys' defense bad? He's like, you guys don't, like, there's no player here that's on the other side. Like, they're on, like, all of them are playing right. Like, you know? So why did you guys bring in another defenseman? If anything, they should have brought in a forward. I mean, if you're asking me. But to be fair, I'll be real. Boston scares me. How did they catch up, Ryan? How did they catch up? What the heck is going on? Look at how close they are. Tell them to go away. What? Why are they here? Why are they here? What?
He has the same number of points, but you guys have played 1 less game. But,
yes, I know.
Yeah, no. Terrifying. Here's the good news, Josh. Here's the good news.
What's the good news?
It doesn't matter how close they get. If they get close, all that means is you guys get to play probably the Hurricanes. You guys don't have to play with the Atlantic. That's the good. If they pass you, you get wild card 2.
Ryan,
you get wild card 1.
You want to know what the funniest part of that is? I would rather play Frederik Andersen in Carolina than any team in the Atlantic Division right now.
Well, yeah,
they scare me.
Person.
They scare me. Okay, so what? Okay,
Carolina's crazy good, but like the Panthers, the Lightning, the Bruins, and the Leafs, I guess. But
every team in the Atlantic Division, those top 4 teams, got better. Like, and not just a little better, substantially better. Boston got.
The Leafs did.
I think the Leafs. We'll get into the Leafs trade last, but I think it was a good trade. Okay. But the thing is, I think every team in that division did get better. At least even Montreal, like they did what they had to do. They're gonna get better in the future. They acquired so many goddamn picks. Like you guys
did everything right. They did everything right.
You guys have draft picks out the wazoo right now. You guys are gonna have players on players for the next few years. Hopefully, your scouting department can figure things out now, and you actually hit on players, which would be nice. Because look, I'll be real, man. Suzuki and Caulfield. They're incredible players. I watched Caulfield take a shot the other day, and I was like, yeah, kid's pretty good. Kid's got a quick shot. He well places it every time. So let's get to what happens when a player decides their destiny for one, and Florida getting way better. So Florida shocks the world, and they acquire Claude Giroux and Connor Burnman and German Rabutsov and a 5th-round pick from the Flyers in exchange for Owen Tippett and 2 firsts and a 3rd. Yeah. So, these aren't first recently. These are 2024 and 2025 first, way down the road. So, Claude Giroux, exceptional player, just played his 1,000th game for the Flyers. He's gonna get his. I'm assuming he's gonna get his jersey retired in Philly. He has to, right? Like,
absolutely.
Okay, so Claude Giroux is still, to me, a top player in the NHL. And so Claude Giroux just fetched 2 firsts, but not like this year, next year, or this year and the year after. No. Or the next 2. He got 2024 and 2025. Claude Giroux had a no-move clause. He decided where he wanted to go. Apparently the Avs had a better offer, and Florida said no because Giroux didn't want to play in the cold. He wanted to go to Florida. So
yeah, why wouldn't you?
The thing is, and Florida fleeced the Flyers in this move. Like, if Claude Giroux signs in Florida, they fleece the heck out of them. Like, I
don't know. I mean, first, they did give up a 2017 first-round pick in Owen Tippett. And they also gave up a first-round pick, a top 10 protected 2 years from now. It's a 2024. Like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad for the Flyers to acquire for effectively nothing.
No, But the thing
Like,
that
you're not going up cup run, you're not going to need Claude Giroux.
you're right. But the thing that I'll say about Owen Tippett right now is Owen Tippett was an incredible player in the OHL. He has not yet found his touch yet in the NHL. A change of scenery could probably help this guy out. I mean, he's shooting at an 8.2 shooting percentage right now, which isn't great. He had 14 points in 42 games, 6 goals this year with the Panthers. He played his first game with the Flyers last night. He took 2 shots, but other than that, he didn't register any other statistical points. I hope this guy does figure it out, because I do like Owen Tippett. He seems like a good guy, but I don't know, man. I think that Florida could have gotten, or not Florida, sorry, Philly could have gotten more for Claude Giroux, but since Claude Giroux just decided where he wanted to go, it was kind of just like, Florida's like, we know this player wants to come here and your hands are tied, essentially, so you kind of have to give it to us at what we ask, not what you ask. Right, It just, I don't know. I think Florida got incredibly better, because right after they traded for Claude Giroux, the next day they go, hey, Robert Hagg, come here. You come here. You're joining us now, which is going to help because Aaron Ekblad's hurt.
Yeah.
He should be back for the first round. There's rumors that he might not be, though, so that's yet to be seen.
You know what's crazy? In the meantime, with Aaron Ekblad out, do you know what the Florida Panthers are doing on the power play?
My assumption is it's probably like Huberdeau, Barkov. I don't even know who the other winger would be right now. But tell me what they're doing, Ryan. What am I looking at?
Their power play 1 is Claude Giroux, Anthony Duclair, Alex Barkov, Sam Reinhart, and Jonathan Huberdeau. Do you notice anything about those 5 players, Josh?
Sorry, say it again. The stream dropped for our thing. We're still recording, but for some reason it just disappeared.
All right. Claude Giroux.
Yes.
Anthony Duclair. Alex Barkov.
Oh God.
Sam Reinhart and Jonathan Huberdeau.
Is this is this a GM mode power play line?
Do you notice anything about those 5 players?
They're all forwards.
Yeah.
like they're all forwards.
I guess like Barkov.
He's a center.
Might as well be an offensive defenseman. Like
he's a center.
He's gonna have to be pulling double duty here. He's gonna be a defenseman on this power play.
This is
assuming they ever get one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You think they're ever gonna have to defend a rush?
No.
No. The puck's gonna be in the back of the net.
Yeah, power plays for them be about 15 seconds of them just getting in zone. So I'm not too worried about it.
No. I think this trade, from Florida's perspective, incredible trade. Like I think you might have fleeced the Flyers. Yeah. I think that this is gonna work out for their playoff run for Hagg and for Giroux. Yeah. And I'm scared of Florida, but I said that earlier. I am very afraid of Florida right now.
The only thing with Florida, though.
Yep.
In the next 3 years, in the first 2 rounds of those next 3 drafts, they have 1 pick. A second rounder in 2023.
But that's the thing, if you look...
The rest of it's gone.
Yeah, but even if you look at the first round picks they've taken, the players, like, they're gone. They've traded away almost every single player they've drafted in the past 7 years. In the first round, at least. And they've traded away their future. Like, they and I don't disagree with this because they're trying to win a cup. They sold the farm. Like, completely sold the farm. I've never seen a team go selling the farm this hard to win a cup. But look, Bobrovsky's in his top year, because next year we all know he's going to fall back down to earth and probably play like doo-doo again, which is kind of funny because they don't have their first, so it could be like a lottery pick, which would be hilarious. Do you imagine if that pick goes out and fetches like the first pick next year if they miss? That would be hilarious.
They miss and we get the first overall pick with their pick.
Connor Bedard! Connor Bedard!
Here's my ultimate fantasy. They get one of the first 2 picks, we get the other.
Yeah.
With our pick. Carbonard and Michikov, both on the Habs.
Yeah. Yeah, and Shane Wright, right?
And Shane Wright, and Suzuki, and Caulfield, and all of our fucking defensemen.
Yeah.
We've got a horde of defensemen to throw at them, and then Primo's in net eventually, maybe.
I like how you're like a horde of defensemen. They might not do great, but they're there.
I don't know if we have a number one defenseman in the future. We might. It could be Kaden Gooley. It could be Matthias Norlinder. It could be Romanov. It could be Barron. Who we'll get to in a moment.
So, real quick, I don't want to. What's the word? I don't want to dread on this. I don't want to dread on this trade.
Yeah.
But like we're gonna move on like right after this. Just real quick.
Yeah.
So I saw that Shea Weber's contract was on the TSN trade bait list. Is that saying like for guarantee now that we probably won't ever see Shea Weber put on the skates again?
I don't know if that guarantees it, but
pretty close. Okay.
I don't. Between that and Ben Sherratt did an interview with I think it was TSN writer LeBron, I think.
Yeah.
And he talked about like future of the team, like what do you think of Romanov on defense? He was like, yeah, I mean, if these guys are the future, I mean, they'll be him and Petrie for the next few years. And it's like, okay, so Jay's not coming back.
Okay.
So I would be very surprised at this point if Shea Weber returned to playing hockey. It's just really unfortunate, but I hope, if nothing else, maybe we bring him back to be a coach. I think he'd be a good coach.
Yeah, I think that would be a good role for him.
Yeah, maybe let him take over the power play instead of Alex Burrows. As much as I love Burrows, he's a great guy for the team. I think Shea Weber might be a better guy for the team.
Guess how Burrows doing your guys' power play right now?
Yeah, Alex Burrows runs our power play. He's our power play coach.
Fair enough. Okay, let's get to...
It's not, like, terrible, but yeah. Let's moving on.
We got a lot of stuff to get through here, so...
Right.
We'll
you
quickly...
Want to run through some of them?
Well,
or do you want to do it?
Let's do the Vancouver stuff real quick and talk about Ethan's opinion on how his team did. You can lead it, though, if you want.
Okay. So what we saw was Travis Hamonic was traded for a third-round pick to the Senators. They then traded Winnipeg's third-round pick that they had to Toronto for Travis Dermott. So effectively what they've done, they saved $1.5 million cap space, brought in Travis Dermott instead of Travis Hamonic.
Younger player.
Better locker room guy, supposedly. There have been some hummings about Travis Hamonic maybe not being.
Well, he didn't want to get vaccinated last year, so there's probably something to do with that. I don't think he played last year. He didn't play at all last year. He was one of the players that just said no. I'm not playing in Canada.
He played 38 games last year.
Oh, did he?
Didn't do much.
Okay. Well, never mind. I guess I'll eat my words and die on that sword.
Only played 24 games this year, though. But yeah, no. I think that's pretty okay upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. What did Ethan say? He said got rid of Hamonic essentially for Dermott, so an upgrade, but got rid of Mowat for a fourth. They traded Mowat for a fourth, and he said that they downgraded. He said they should have gotten a backup goalie because Halak is really bad. And then I asked him if he thought that his team would make the playoffs, and he said honestly, it's a tight race in the Pacific, could go anywhere at this point. Would love to see Vancouver get in, but to get out of the first round.
This is interesting though, because in the trade that they did with Ottawa, they didn't get Ottawa's third; they got their own third back.
That's funny.
Because they traded their third-round pick for Nate Schmidt to the Knights.
Yep.
The Knights then traded it with Nick Holden for Evgeny Dadonov, and then Ottawa traded back to them for Hamonic. That's kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. We got a crazy trade to get to at the end of this, man. The last trade,
yeah,
that's a doozy. Okay.
Oh my God, yeah, did we ever? All right, we have the Leafs trades.
Skip the Leafs trade.
Okay. Tampa did the thing for Nick Paul.
Yep.
For a fourth and a player. Scott Wedgwood goes to the Stars for a fourth-round pick, conditional that might turn to a third.
It's not a bad trade.
If the Stars make third round. Jeremy Lozon for a second-round pick, which that's actually a lot more than I thought he would get.
Yep.
Mason Appleton for a fourth. Mason Appleton back to the Winnipeg Jets.
Back to the Jets.
From Kraken.
I don't know what
the expansion draft.
I don't know what the hell. Okay, taking it back to just real quick. The Kraken during the thing they said, okay, if you want to protect a guy, it's a first round pick. Well, we saw on the deadline, teams were just acquiring their players back for like nothing, pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
Like,
this is the third or fourth player that Seattle's traded back to their original team.
This is ridiculous. What were they doing? Like, we'll talk about it eventually. Yeah, maybe.
To keep going, Bolio to the Penguins for a 7th-round pick.
Yep.
And it's only if Penguins win 3 playoff series and Bolio plays in at least half the games.
That's it's gonna be a trade for nothing. Like let's just get over it. Jack
Yeah.
McBain goes to Minnesota for a second. That's not bad. I mean, it is what it is. Here's what I was talking about. The next trade. The Capitals trade Marcus Johansson back to their team from the Kraken for Daniel Sprong and a 4th.
Yeah.
And a 6th. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Sprong could still be a good player. I've heard he's got one hell of a shot, but he's not really good at a lot of the other aspects. But, he's young. You can still get there. But just like this is what I'm talking about. They wanted a 1st to protect Johansson, but then they traded Johansson back for a player who's not proven in the NHL, a 4th and a 7th. Or 6th. Like, yeah. Then we saw the first contract move to the day just for, like, no reason, really. Actually, hold on. The Marcus Johansson trade, does that make Washington better?
It doesn't make them worse.
Okay.
I think he's an upgrade on Sprong.
I think so as well. Arizona then trades Brian Little's contract and the rights to a college player named Nathan Smith from the Jets for a 4th. It's a salary dump. Like I think the Jets are gonna try to take a big swing in free agency this summer. I don't know what it's gonna be.
That's a salary dump too, and that's not a bad price for dumping $5 million for 1 year.
You have an unsigned player, and you got that's not bad at all. Like, you moved an unsigned guy who you don't know. This is a college player. He could just not sign. You never know.
Yeah.
College guys can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good price because Brian Little has 3 more years on his deal. I didn't think. I thought he only had 1 left. Yeah, that's really good.
That's the first trade, and I think the only trade we saw with the Coyotes using their cap space to get an asset. The next meaningful trade we had were the Sharks traded for Capo Kakinen and a 5th-round pick from the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild then turned around and were like, "Hey, Chicago, Marc-Andre Fleury for a conditional 1st." I have no idea what the condition on that 1st is.
It's a conditional 2nd that upgrades to a 1st if Minnesota makes the conference final and Fleury has at least 4 wins in the first 2 rounds.
Okay.
So if assuming he's the starter and they make conference finals, it's a 1st.
Yeah. So the next trade, that makes Minnesota better, right? Like Minnesota is an actual playoff, like they're an actual playoff contender now, right? Like they're not fucking around.
They're a playoff threat. I think it's entirely possible to make the cup final. I think they win the first rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The problem is they're gonna have to go through Colorado if they want to make the conference final.
Okay, that's
it's just kind of brutal.
What? But
Marc-Andre happens like a Flames or something. Maybe they would.
Fleury helps though. Fleury.
Yeah, Fleury definitely helps. That was their weakest spot. In net. So that'd be good, especially if he stays there. I don't know.
Next, we saw the Rangers make their splash of the day. They traded for Justin Braun for a 3rd. I mean, it's not terrible. They get more help in the back end. I really thought they were going to try to trade for a forward, and they just didn't. But that's not terrible. I think this trade does help New York in the back end at least a little bit. It gives them depth and flexibility. So
it just sucks for Philly though, because they paid I guess 2 years ago now they paid a 2nd and a 3rd.
Yep.
For Justin Braun for 3 years, and now you only get a 3rd back.
And now they got a 3rd back for it. That's bad asset management.
Admittedly, I don't think either of those picks turn into any decent players, but we'll see.
The next trade was kind of the one with Boston. I don't think Josh Brown's gonna have any real what's the word?
Impact.
Yeah, impact.
Yeah, no, I don't see any major things with this. I mean, Zach Ascension finally calling it on that 1st-round pick from 2015. One of them, they had 3 in a row, and him.
The next meaningful trade we had was Nick Leddy got moved to the Blues.
Well, we skipped the Habs trade, but we'll come back to that.
Oh, sorry, sorry. On my list, your trade's the one up after that.
Okay, all right, fine. We'll talk about Nick Leddy first then.
Yeah, so the Rangers get Jake Wallman and Oscar Sundqvist and a 2nd. I mean, I think that's a really good return for Nick Leddy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sundqvist is a good forward. He's young. I think he's still young. I'm gonna double check that just so I guess he's 27. Sorry. He's not bad. I think that he's a decent depth piece. The 2nd, I looking at this now, the 2nd I think is probably the main key of this trade. But you get 2 serviceable NHL guys in Wallman and Sundqvist for Nick Leddy, whose contract probably is up soon, I assume.
I believe it's the last year of his deal, and they did retain half, so I mean it's not bad. So it's only $275 for him. So
you're Detroit, the guy is probably going to walk anyway, so you at least got something for him. So then the Habs made their next good move of the day. Unfortunately, they lost Arturi Lehkonen. I heard this guy never takes a shift off and is one of the best locker room guys in the world. In
Great
exchange,
locker room guy, two-way guy. Yeah.
in exchange, he plays everywhere, man. Power play, special teams, everything. In exchange for defenseman Justin Barron and a second, so Montreal gets another pick, and this one is in the 2024 draft. Which isn't too bad. I mean, like, you know, you guys, like, I don't want to look at what your guys' picks are on Cap Friendly in the next few years. Like, they're just going to intimidate the hell out of me.
It's beautiful. In the first 3 rounds for the next 3 years, we have 6, 7, 8, 9 picks.
Oh my god. Jeez.
In 2 rounds, plus like another like 4 in the third round in the next 3, or 5 in the third round the next 3 years. Same with
I mean, Montreal then trades the Hamburglar to the Devils for Nate Schnard. I'm assuming that this was just like a one, like just a here you take this, I take this kind of move, like nothing substantial.
It's nothing substantial. Hammond's like our third or fourth goalie now, so yeah.
So,
but just go back to. Can we go back to or like?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I gotta just jump off that.
I really am excited about this because you may not know, but Justin Barron is he was a 2020 first round pick from Colorado, also from Halifax. Didn't know that. That's cool.
That is cool.
Played for I think the Mooseheads, yeah. But he was ranked as one of their top prospects. I think he was their second best defensive prospect behind Byram, third overall.
Wait. You guys got an actual like B plus to A player.
We got an A-tier prospect.
You got an A-tier prospect and a second for Lehkonen? Holy crap.
We retained half on Lehkonen, and he's an RFA, so they do get the chance to sign him first, which I think they probably will.
You guys really made solid moves. Holy shoot.
Like, that is maybe my favorite move, even more than the Sherratt first. Because Justin Barron is also a right-hand defenseman, which is something we desperately need. Like, we have a lot of prospects on the left side. We don't have anybody on the right side, really.
So,
Roman not going to play the right side if he needs, but...
Here's the other thing I'll say about this guy. 43 games, 20 points in the AHL this year. Only 8 penalty minutes in those 43 games and was plus 10. So he's only taken 4 penalties in these 43 games. That's discipline. That shows that you're willing, like you're always your best ability is your availability, and this guy's availability seems to be great. You're on the box.
Yeah. I read the scouting report on this guy. The biggest thing was he plays a very safe positional game. Doesn't force a lot of physical play. Doesn't force a lot of flash. He just does his thing. Does it well. Plays smart. Great hockey IQ. So that's exactly what I like to see in a player. He's everything I love. So see him on this team. Exciting. Supposedly we're gonna see him just play with the lineup starting when he makes it to Montreal. So.
Oh really? You guys are putting him on the big boy squad?
Putting him on the team. I mean, somebody's got to replace Ben Sherratt, so.
Actually, that's fair. That does honestly, it doesn't seem like a bad replacement for the guy. Hopefully, he doesn't look lost when he's out there. You gonna go to the next one, or do you got something else to say about that one?
No, that's all I'll say. I will say one more thing though. Lehkonen to the Avalanche, great pickup for them.
Oh man, the Avs are so scary.
Like you said, solid guy in the locker room. Two-way player, plays his heart out. He's the guy that sent us to the Stanley Cup championship last year. It's his goal. So, yeah, I can't say enough good things about Lehkonen, so Avalanche treat him well. We'll do the best for Justin Barron as we can. So, move.
The next one that I don't know if this is meaningful or not, because maybe I'm over-evaluating Nick Merkley. But for some reason, I feel like Nick Merkley is a good prospect, and they traded him for a guy that I hadn't heard of. Or maybe I'm thinking of the other Merkley, because there's 2 of them.
I think you're thinking of Ryan Merkley. Nick Merkley's still pretty good. He was 2015 pick, 30th overall.
Okay.
I mean, he's 24 or so, and he's not doing too great. Put him 36 points in 43 games in the AHL this year. The Barracuda. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But we'll see if he can develop a little bit more. And then the guy they traded for is just kind of a AHL player, 15 points, 39 games. In the AHL, so, it's not crazy for a 31-year-old too. But.
We saw Tampa get another addition. They just got Riley Nash. The Leafs had him in the playoff run last year. He wasn't really an impact guy, but it's good depth to have again. Like, it's just flexibility because you never know. Playoffs can always go south.
I remember he played for the Habs. It was pretty okay.
Avs then make another move, and they traded for...
I was thinking somebody... Never mind.
Andrew Cogliano for a 5th. That seems like not a lot for Cogliano. I guess maybe Cogliano's fallen off the bus, but like.
What? Hold on, I don't see that on my list. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah.
I have Cogliano for a 5th.
Yeah, Cogliano not crazy. 15 points for 6 games, not like insane, but decent.
But again,
enough.
it's depth, right? Playoff runs are all about who's got who's up next. Like injuries happen all the time. Who's next? And so to have guys like
not Cogliano.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? You bring in Cogliano and Atari Lehkonen, who are immediately going to give a shot in the arm to your probably fourth line. I don't. This team's crazy. So that's just that move. Then we saw the Rangers make an interesting move. Andrew Kopp and a 6th for Morgan Barron and 2 conditional 2nd-round picks and a 5th.
And a 5th, yeah.
Like, I don't know. People were saying that this guy was going to catch a 1st, but like, I don't know. Like, am I underevaluating? I mean, 35 points in 56 games is, I guess, nothing bad, but like, I don't know.
I mean, he's still only 27. He's only on a 1-year deal, but I mean, he could do some good things in Winnipeg or in New York. So
I mean, again,
almost point per game. Like 40 and 50-ish, 40 and 60 games. So it's not too crazy, but
again, I think it's a really good depth piece to have, regardless of where he gets added. Like in addition to this team. Then we saw the Kings do 2 players that are kind of just nothing. Then the Montreal Canadiens made another good move, getting in another draft pick, trading away Brett Kulak to the Oilers for William Lagson and a conditional 2nd-round pick and a 7th. I'm assuming you know the conditions of that pick.
Yeah, the condition of the 2nd-round pick, if Edmonton reaches the Stanley Cup final, we get their 2023 first or 2nd round instead of the 2022. So
interesting.
It can't be a late second one. I've never actually seen a condition like that where if they make it a certain distance we go the next year, but that's an interesting one.
I mean, I think it's because
condition. I like that.
The draft is so deep next year that I think even 2nd-round picks are very valuable. But this trade, I mean, I don't know a lot about Kulak, but I'm assuming is this a guy that they're going to slot in immediately, or is this a depth acquisition?
He'll slot in. I mean, he could probably. I'll have to look at their lines real quick, but I mean, he was a solid guy, similar to what I mentioned to Barron. Played all situations, played smart hockey, just wasn't necessarily very physical, but did his job well. I think he can really be a solid, he's not necessarily going to be your top pairing guy, but he will play solid minutes. I mean, if Duncan Keith needs to rest a bit, he can certainly play those top 4 second pairing minutes. And if he's on your 3rd pair, he's going to be great. But yeah, no, I can't. Brett Kulak, solid depth piece to have there, but definitely will get play time.
All right, well, we're gonna fly through some of these. We're already at 43 minutes, and you and me both want to actually. I want to talk about the Leafs acquisition here. So the Penguins then got Rickard Rakell for Anaheim for Zach Antoine Reese, Dominic Simmons, and the right to a goalie and a 2nd-round pick. I feel like that's a lot for Rakell, but I think that Rakell's really gonna help the Penguins here, especially because Crosby is elite as crap and so good, and this is just gonna help their playoff run incredibly. So the Stars then get Nemestikov for a 4th. That's kind of nothing. The Rangers then trade Tyler Mowat, like I said earlier, for Tyler Mowat from Vancouver for a 4th. Calgary gets Ryan Carpenter. That's kind of nothing again. The Senators got Michael McNiven from Calgary in exchange for future considerations. Probably will end up being nothing. Then the next big move that we had, the last big move, Carolina acquired forward Max Domi and defensive prospect Tyler Amito from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for prospect Aiden Hurchik, and Florida receives forward prospect Igor Korshov and a 6th-round pick. Oh, this is a 3-team trade. Cool.
Yeah, Florida retains 50% of Max Domi's contract. I think there's only 1 year left on it.
Yep.
And Carolina, they retain half of the 1.3 mil. Columbus retains the original half, so 2.6. And then they get a 6th and a prospect for the Troubles. So decent.
I didn't think that. The thing is, I didn't think that they could get better. And Domi, I mean, that's a shot in the arm for your 3rd line. Or your 4th. Man, these teams are so freaking good.
Yeah. And assuming he can stay in the lineup and stay healthy and not get in too much trouble with the refs, I mean, that's going to be a great locker room guy, great guy to have on the playoff run, I think.
So I'm gonna talk about the Toronto stuff. I'm gonna go at it in a second here. But do you want to talk about the almost trade from yesterday?
Which almost trade?
The one with Vegas that came in right after the.
This is we'll talk about this. So what happened was Evgeny Dadonov was traded with a second-round pick to the Anaheim Ducks for Ryan Kessler's contract, who's LTIR, and John Moore. Second-round pick was conditional to be either 2023 or 2024, depending on the Eichel trade. However, Evgeny Dadonov, when he was in Ottawa, submitted a 10-team no-trade list. It was submitted too late for him to be avoid being traded to Vegas. However, it still was submitted. And on that list, he had Anaheim. Unfortunately, no one at the league, no one in Vegas or in Anaheim had this with them. They assumed it hadn't been filed, but it had been filed.
That's the thing. I had heard this trade went through, but I also have heard that it hasn't gone through. And the thing is, on my list, I don't have that trade.
Yeah. I do have it on Cap Friendly here. However, due to the nature of what's going on, it went to the PA to be decided.
Okay.
Signs are pointing to that it'll be voided. So the trade won't go through.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So we don't really know how Vegas is going to work this because they need that cap dump. They need the cap space in order to bring in guys back off of LTIR. Namely, like Martinez or Stone. They need that little extra cap space to do it, especially with that LTIR help from Ryan Kessler. But
the only option that they'll have left is to waive Dadonov.
They can do something else.
What's their other option?
The other option...
Wait until the playoffs, baby!
The other option, because you can't cut players from NHL rosters.
Of course not.
They could still technically trade Evgeny Dadonov.
How?
The trade deadline only stops players from being traded that could then be played the rest of that year. If you trade before the trade deadline, you're still good. You can play with your team the rest of the year in the playoffs. If you're traded after the deadline, you can't play. You're out for the year.
Yeah, it's the trade. Oh, they can't even play for the. Ooh.
Yeah,
but
that doesn't go play for the non-playoff team. They can't do anything.
But that's not going to necessarily clear clear their salary, is it? Or does that immediately come off the books?
The contract would move. It just the player would not be eligible to play for the games. So if they convince a team like Arizona to take the entirety of the contract, and then they give them something like a first-round pick that they don't really have, I don't think.
They traded a lot of stuff to,
If they can give something to Arizona or find any team really that's willing to make a deal where they take on Dadonov's contract and don't play him for the rest of the year, Dadonov will get the year off and come back in September for them, or in October when the season starts. That could still work. It's just finding that team that's willing to do something that counterintuitive. They might be having to pay up quite a bit for that.
And that's the thing. The other issue that I see with that trade now is that no one's going to just want him. They almost would be better to just waive him. Because if they just waive him, then they don't lose anything. And if someone takes the contract... here's the thing. Ultimately, they could do this. Let's put him on waivers. If no one claims him, then we'll try to we'll try to have to pay a team to take the guy. But I think that they're gonna... If it was me, if I was the general manager, which I'm not, I would waive the guy first and then try to move him. But, I mean, if they really do need that contract gone, I'm kind of because I heard yesterday, I was like, yeah, that 10 trade, that list has to be in. And then I heard that the list was in, and I was like, and if they were on the list, I'm like, that trade should just go. But if you're saying, a PA, oh man, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. I think the assumption is, and what sources are saying to certain insiders, is that the trade will just be voided. So we'll see how that turns out for them. But
that's tough.
Yeah, no, kind of a messy situation.
All right.
Especially for somebody like Vegas, who's had these problems before, Dadonov had this problem in Ottawa where it wasn't filed properly, which is why some of this problem is happening. And then also Vegas kind of, not being great, but players being traded. Not a great look for them, honestly.
So, it's time. So, hello Leafs Nation. Hello yeah. Leafs Nation. I am Josh. We actually did something not stupid. Like we might have won this trade. So, the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Mark Giordano and Colin Blackwell from the Kraken in exchange for a second in the 2022 draft, a second in the 2023 draft, and a third in the 2024 draft. And the Kraken retained 50% of the contract. So, honestly, look, the Leafs right now, by God, they are so bad in front of their own net. They needed a guy like this, a giant presence, a guy who's got good leadership quality, a guy that I still think can be active on the NHL, like in the NHL, and be like, he'll play power play. He can play the penalty kill. He's a solid guy to put out there. Like, when Giordano's on the ice, I'm not going to be like, oh God, please don't do something dumb. I have confidence in him. It's not like guys when I see not to throw Dermott under the bus, because I do think Dermott's a good player, but Dermott did give away the puck last year in Game 6 and handed you guys that game. And so it's kind
Josh, I don't want to cut you off real quick, but you're going to have to take this for a second. I feel like I smell something burning, so just give me a minute.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, well, I was just going to rant on anyway. The thing, guys, ultimately is I believe that Colin Blackwell is a really good acquisition for us. It gives our third line a shot in the arm, especially with Kase going down. And I'm not gonna say that this guy is like Brandon Hagel. I think that obviously Hagel would have been a better acquisition. The other trade that the Leafs were rumored to get was Hagel and Fleury. Now, guys, I don't know if I have confidence in our goaltending. I really, really don't. I want to so bad. I want to believe that Campbell and I want to believe that Mrazek will figure it out, and I want to believe that this Shalgren kid is something, but I don't know. Look, Ryan, all I was saying was I think that Blackwell is a good addition. I said it's not, because the Leafs were rumored to get Hagel and Fleury. If I'm the Leafs fan right now, I think I would rather have Blackwell and Giordano, because the Leafs do have goalies. We don't have defense. Like, we were flailing out there. It was like we're up shit's creek without a paddle right now as the Leafs Nation. Like, we have scoring. We have proven that in the past 2 weeks. We are winning games surely by just outscoring our opponents. We won a game in Seattle 6-4. Like, we're literally having to outscore teams, and you know what? Everyone who said $40 million for 4 players isn't going to work can suck my gosh darn thing, because we are outscoring teams now at a crazy level. And Giordano, like I said, he's going to be a good player. He's going to help our defense out. And the amazing thing about it all is the Leafs still have enough room to bring Jake Muzzin back off of LTIR when he is available, and Kase, who might be out into the playoffs, but I really hope he's not, because I love that guy. And so the Leafs we aren't going to get a good chance to see the Leafs in action until tomorrow, where we take on the New Jersey Devils. So that'll be Giordano's first game. I'm not going to say that's a great proving game, but I don't know. The Leafs are wearing black and blue jerseys tomorrow, by the way, that were made in collaboration with Justin Bieber. Brian, I don't know if you heard that or not, but yeah, that's happening tomorrow.
What? Say again?
The Leafs are playing tomorrow, and guess what we're wearing? We're wearing a black and blue jersey that we made in collaboration with Justin Bieber.
Why?
Why? Because Matthews is best friends with Justin Bieber, okay? I don't know. I wish I was kidding, Ryan. I'm not. Okay?
I also feel that your first line center is a believer.
Look, I wish I could be a believer in him in the playoffs. So the Leafs then get the entire week off. We only play 2 games this week, and we play the Habs on Saturday. That obviously is going to be a good game. Any game, Montreal and Toronto, is going to be good. It's in Montreal. My parents are going to this game. They'll be up in the luxury boxes, eating food, drinking booze. I hope the Leafs win, because my dad's going to be like what's the word? My mother is not gonna want to be around my father. She might leave him in Montreal if they lose because he's just gonna be that like yeah, exactly. So let's hope for the sake of my parents that the Leafs do win this game, and Giordano plays well. I mean, I don't know. The Habs at this point, Ryan knows they sold the farm. Ryan obviously wants to win this game just to hold it over my head, but at this point, I don't think he cares at the same time. Like,
Yeah, I don't.
lose out,
The,
get
the
Shan
race for
right.
the bottom, the race for the bottom's too tight for me to be wanting to beat the Leafs that badly.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. So hopefully the Leafs end up winning that game. So here's the other thing, guys. I understand what I was saying before is I want to believe in the Leafs goaltending so bad. I want to believe that what Jack Campbell did last year and what he did at the beginning of this year is Jack Campbell, and I do. I believe that is who he is. I believe that he has a terrible mental thing going on right now. But Kyle Dubas said it best yesterday. I didn't want to overpay for a player, and he didn't. He didn't. I don't believe he overpaid for Giordano. I think that this trade could work out great for us, and even if it doesn't, we only gave up seconds. We still have our firsts. The thing is, he said Jack Campbell getting hurt at this point in the year is probably the best thing that could have happened for Jack, because Jack is now getting pulled out of the lineup. He has time to figure out his own mental health and his mental block, and to get himself back in tip-top shape, just ready for the playoffs. I'd love to have him down this stretch run, but hopefully Shalgren can just... He stepped into that role and played pretty good. He had a pretty stinker of a game on Saturday against Nashville, but to be fair, UC Saros stood on his head at the end of that game, and just you weren't gonna beat that guy. He was incredible. He made like 4 or 5 save of the year candidate saves in the last 5 minutes of that game. I was in awe and shock. So shout out to UC Saros. You're a really good goalie. So, look, I think that the Leafs, I'm happy that we didn't use our first because we still have the option to use it. And I mean, like, look, the Leafs prospect system, it's still really good. Our farm, I'm glad we didn't sell the farm. Our farm players are ready to play. Like, Nick Robertson just got sent back down to the AHL, but Dubas said it himself yesterday, too. That was the best stint we've seen of Nick Robertson in the NHL. We know that he didn't score statistical points, but he was out there digging. He was out there scoring. He was creating chances. He was out there doing all the right things. It kind of felt like Caulfield at the beginning of the year. The players doing all the right things, it's just not going in. You know, like they're in the right place, they're taking the right shots, and it's just nothing's working for them right now. So hopefully after this will be his last stint in the AHL, and he'll be ready for the playoff run because, look, the Leafs are going to make the playoffs. This Atlantic division is scary. And we just got Giordano. Every team in our division got way better too. And, man, all I'm saying is the Atlantic Division first round is going to be must-see hockey. I don't care if you're a fan of any team. I'm going to watch the other playoff series. And I'm a diehard Leafs fan. Like, I don't care. The other series is going to be just as good. We could see Florida-Tampa, Toronto-Tampa, Florida-Boston, Tampa-Boston. There's even the chance is small, but there could be still a chance that Boston ends up playing Toronto in the first round, which is terrifying, and I don't want it to happen. But, anything is possible in this friggin' division. I swear to God. So, look, yeah, Ryan, look, I have nightmares, okay? I don't want to relive it again. I saw a TikTok the other day, and it made me sad because it basically just put being a Leafs fan into perspective as 2 things. How do you feel anxious and depressed at the same time? It's just like, and then, oh. Like, that's what being a Leafs fan is. It's, and then, oh. Like, all over and over and over, okay? I've lived this my whole life, and I don't intend to stop. But my God, please get out of the first round. Just please, man. That's all I need. I don't need you to win the cup. I don't need you. You can get swept in the second round. I would not care. Just please, for the sake of my sanity, win a freaking first round. Please. That's all I need. I don't care if it's in 7 games. I don't care if you sweep them. I don't care what it is. Just please, man. Get swept in the second round, but you gotta make it there, man. Like, just do it. Holy crap, this team is this team is too good to not make it out of the first round. It blows my mind every year. But that's what being a Leafs fan is. We're I'm trying to get a time check right now. We are 58 minutes into this right now. I'll be honest, Ryan, I don't really have I don't have any trivia for you. I could find some if you want, but we talked a lot about trades today.
Yeah.
How do you look? I'll ask you this. How do you feel as a Habs fan moving forward right now?
Very good. This is... I knew, not last year, I guess last year I did know, but the year before when we played in the bubble, and we saw how guys like Nick Suzuki played, and how Romanov, well, he actually didn't play that year, but he was with the team. We saw how they looked, how that team looked, and it was good. We saw them last year; they looked great, and it was so nice. This year, it looked pretty bad. Things look bleak. We got a new coach, and everything turned around. It's instant 180, and it's been that way since he's been in for 18 games now. Plus, with the new management, has been great. They've done. You know what? One thing Mark Bergevin never did in his tenure with the Habs in 8 years.
What's
he
that?
never traded for a first-round pick.
Actually, I remember being told that. Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Kent Hughes has done it twice now.
Yeah.
And got one of the best prospects we've seen, and got multiple other picks. Our management does look great. We'll see how they do in the draft, and in the next few years, we'll really know for sure how well this team has been built. Because we've got all the picks in the world, it doesn't mean shit if you can't draft well.
That's what I mean. So we're gonna see for real if it was just Bergevin or if it was your entire scouting department.
Yeah, I mean we've got a new director of scouting. We fired Trevor Timmons, who was he was the assistant GM, but he was also kind of in charge of scouting. But we brought in like skills coaches. We've been much more transparent with what's going on. Which 100 years of the Habs, they were never transparent to anything. And we've been getting like weekly updates on all of our players that are injured, seeing what's wrong, how they're doing. We know it every step of the process. Like Carey Price has not played this year. We know every step of the process that he's gone through.
Is he going to play this year?
We didn't know anything. He might be healthy at the end of the year. I mean, there's not many. There's 20 games left or so.
Yeah.
He might be ready in a few weeks. I mean, he was on ice practicing with team in a regular getup, so his first time all year though. So we'll see how long it takes him until he's ready. If he is ready, 50-50 if they let him play a game or two. I think it would be a good thing to let him play if he wants to, especially. I mean, if he wants to play, there's absolutely no reason to stop him from playing at this point.
I mean, yeah. Well, unless I don't know if you're.
The only consideration is, does he re-aggravate his injury?
Yeah.
But I mean, if he's taken his time and he knows he's ready and all the doctors have cleared him, why not let him play a game? Give him a Saturday night game at Bell Center. Just let Habs fans have that moment at the end of the year.
What?
Because we need it. I think Price needs it. I think everybody really needs that moment.
Do you like is Price done, or like is he gonna come back next? Like is he back next year?
Next year he'll be back guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't see a scenario where he just calls it quits, especially after putting all this work in and we've been kept up to date. He's got to be back soon.
Okay.
Well, within the next few months he'll be back. I don't know if he'll be back this season, if he'll be back next season, but he will be back.
Yeah, and I like I said, I think that, I mean, obviously Price is still one of the best in the world, at least the last time we saw him. So, I mean, even as a Leafs fan, I've said this before this year, I hope nothing but the best for that guy, and I do hope that he does come back, because it's the guy's been a legend in the NHL for years. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer in my eyes. He's going to get his jersey retired in Montreal. Like, it's, really?
Getting a jersey retired in Montreal is a very hard thing to do. We have more players in the Hall of Fame that play their entire career with us than we do have retired jerseys. I think he's a prime candidate for it, and if he wins a cup with us, guaranteed. If he doesn't, I think he should. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if the organization will do it. I don't know. He should. He should get his jersey retired. I don't know if they'll do it.
Yo, I can't. Man, I don't know if I could see a world where like that guy won a heart. Like how many goalies have won a heart? Like,
like 3 others, and one of them also played for the Habs, and he didn't get his jersey retired. That was Theodore. Admittedly, he was only good for like a couple years, but still, I just don't know.
And I mean,
I think he should. And if he did, I would be so happy. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. Yeah. It's just such a hard thing to get your jersey retired in Montreal. So we'll see.
I don't know. I understand that as a Leafs fan, I'm pretty sure but both of our teams just retired nobody. I don't know. I think that, like I said, I kind of hope he comes back, because it's But
even if we didn't retire his jersey, I can't see a scenario where anybody takes 31 for quite a long time.
Well, I would hope not. Yeah. But that guy, I mean, that guy is what? is he's the second best goalie Montreal's ever had, or do you put him at 1? Or do you put him at...
You put him at 4.
Put him at 4? Well, I know he's behind Waugh, probably Plante. Who's the other guy?
Dryden.
Okay. Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
Like any other team, it wouldn't be so hard, but Montreal, like, Waugh, Plante, and Dryden are 3 of the, 6, 7 best goaltenders all time, maybe top 5.
Yeah,
Like,
I think,
they're, like, it's such a, Montreal has such a history of goaltending. It's so hard, man.
If we'll wrap here in a second, but if Price had won a Stanley Cup, obviously that changes, right?
Yeah, if he wins the Stanley Cup, I see no reason he wouldn't get his jersey retired.
Okay, well, guys, Brass Bonanza's playing in my ears, so obviously at least some of you know what that means. We are at the end of another weekly episode of Off the Boards. Today we talked about all the trades and how all the teams got incredibly better, and Josh is very scared of the Atlantic Division. Ryan's really happy because by the time his team is really good, all the teams will probably be bad again. So, well, hopefully next week we'll have Ethan back. Ryan's gonna be smiling now as a Habs fan because he understands and he's accepted the rebuild, and that's the first step to the rebuild is acceptance. Trust me, I've been there. Hopefully it doesn't take y'all 20 years. So, guys, like I said, as always, I'm Ryan. You got anything else to say real quick here?
Bye.
Okay, so I'm Josh. That's been Ryan. One of these times I'll get it right. Ethan will hopefully be back next week, and together we have been Off the Boards. See y'all next week.